tuned into The Truth with G. Inspire, educate, and uplift. If you can't handle the truth, this ain't the show for you. The truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So sit back, relax, and buckle up and enjoy this ride.
The Truth with G. The Truth with G. The Truth with G. All right. Welcome back to the show. You're listening to The Truth with G on WPMM Internet Radio. I am your boy, Jerry Graham. You know me as G. Once again, we are back to talk about the issues that matter to you and your community. Hope all is well with everyone. It is Thursday. Friday Eve. We are on the countdown to the weekend. Hope you done had a great week so far. And we're going to wind it down and head into the weekend. And I always tell you to have a safe weekend. Make sure that you are doing the right things. Don't do anything stupid. Be responsible. Headed on into the weekend. But I want to thank you once again for joining me right here on WPMM Internet Radio. Truth with G, we are in our third year. We're in our third year of coming to you and letting you know exactly what's going on in your community. So I want to thank each and every one of my listeners, everybody that has played a role in the show. Thank you for listening. Thank you for supporting the show. The show has gotten wonderful reviews. A lot of people listen to the show, people that I wouldn't even expect to listen to the show. I have listeners. So I want to thank each and every one of you, because this show is for you, about you, and of you. And without you, I would not be here. However, WPMM, we are under the tutelage of Changing Horizon Media Group, LLC, where we do play more music here at WPMM. We play the best in R&B, jazz, neo soul, talk, independent hip-hop, old school music. You can go to WPMMradio.com and listen to the show. You can download the app from that website as well. You can go to TuneIn, iTunes, and you can tell Alexa to play WPMM. She will oblige as well. The app, you can download the app from the website, or go to the Google Play Store or the Apple iPhone Store and download the app. It's a free app, keyword being free. So you can take it on any streaming device that you may have. You can take it anywhere you go in the world. As long as you can get an internet connection, you can get me. So download the app. We're also live on Facebook as well. So don't forget about that one. We're on Facebook, and a lot of people do watch it on Facebook. The shows are always posted on my page. TTWG is always posted on my page for viewing later. For people that don't catch it live, you can always go back and check it out. So if you are on Facebook, go ahead and share. Also, if someone want to listen to the show, they may not be computer savvy, just text them, WPMMradio.com. Just put that in the message field on the text, send it to them. All they have to do is click on it, hit play, and they can listen to the show as well. So once again, if you're on Facebook, go ahead and share. Miss Dorothy is out there. I see she's listening. She's asking about me and the family. We're doing okay. We're hanging in there, taking day by day, stride by stride. We are blessed and highly favored. Thanks for asking, Miss Saber. So we are taking your comments tonight. You can drop your comments into the comment section on Facebook. We're not taking phone calls tonight. But we're going to talk about a few things here. It may get a little controversial, because you know me, I like to stir up controversy. I asked a whole question a couple of days ago on Facebook, and I got some responses. We're going to go over that. We're also going to talk about the situation in our U.S. government. We still don't have a Speaker of the House. We'll talk about that. Also, the war in Israel. Some devastating things are going on across the water over there in Israel. We will talk about that as well. Also, the Secretary of State is out of the country, is over in that region, and I don't understand the media as far as what they're doing in that regard. I'll talk to you about that here in a minute as well. Also, I want to talk about the gentrification going on downtown, and there are a couple of historic sites that are basically in jeopardy right now, and I'm still trying to get more information on that. So as soon as I get more information, I'll let you know. But I'll let you know a little bit. I do know tonight. Triple L is on tonight. How you doing, Miss Triple L? Hadn't seen you on in a minute. I know she stays busy. She's a social butterfly out there. She's always on the go. but it's glad to see you on. And once again, if you missed the show, you can always go back on the page, on my page, Facebook page, and check out the show at your leisure. At your leisure. All right. The views and opinions expressed by individual hosts and guests are their own and not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of WPMM Radio. WPMM does not intend to align with any religion, ethnic group, club, organization, company, individual, or anyone or anything. Now that we got that out the way, once again, if you're on Facebook, go ahead and share. Also, drop your comments into the comment section as well. Mr. John Adams is on. Good evening, sir. Good to see you on here tonight. Good to see you on. Wait a minute. Oh, my bad. I almost called you Dallas Cowboys. No, we're not going to do that tonight. Thursday night football, the Chiefs and the Broncos are playing tonight. Just let you know, Chiefs and the Broncos are playing. And I think it's just streaming on Amazon or something like that. I don't know if it's on regular TV, but I know it's something to do with Amazon. So, also, I forget, I did not mention this on the last show. It is still Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And this is a personal subject to me. Because my wife is a breast cancer survivor, and I preach on early detection. Early detection is key, because I guarantee you, if we had not, if a higher power would not have intervened in our situation, we don't know what would have happened. But by the grace of God, we were able to detect things early. Still stage 3 when my wife got diagnosed. But we were able to catch it, and almost 13 years later, she's cancer free. Early detection is the key. Make sure that you are having your mammograms done and your sonograms and whatever gram that they do in regards to detecting breast cancer. Make sure you're doing your self-examinations as well. If you don't want to do them, ask your significant other to do it. I'm sure they will be happy to oblige in doing your breast exam for you. Just make sure that they are doing it to where they're actually checking you out versus just getting pleasure out of the situation. So, once they check you out and they find that there ain't nothing there, then you have your pleasure after the fact. But make sure you're checking for any lumps, anything abnormal, any pain, whatever case may be. And if you find something, don't just sit on it. Just don't say it might be this, it might be that. Go get it checked. Go get it checked out. And follow your doctor's orders. Find your good doctor. If you don't trust what the first doctor says, get your second opinion. So, but October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. I think the Breast Cancer Walk is coming up here in Pensacola at the end of the month. I forget the date. I'll get the dates for you. We normally participate in that Breast Cancer Walk. Last year was downtown. I'm assuming it's the same place downtown at the plaza. Meet at the plaza, and then it walks down by the bay and come back around to the plaza. So support breast cancer awareness, breast cancer's research, if you will, because we have to find a cure. It is a very, very nasty disease. We have to find a cure. All right. So let's jump on these topics. And once again, drop your comment into the comment section if you want to talk about or discuss anything in particular, other than what the topics that I'm talking about. Also, if you want to comment on the topics, I want to talk about our government right now to start out with. And I'm going to get into our poll question. I asked the poll question here in a few minutes after. And the poll question is a little controversial, I ain't gonna lie to you. And the poll question that I asked on Facebook, and I wanted people's feedback, I asked, will people who are not church members or do not attend church, will they go to heaven? And I'll tell you why I asked that question more when I get into that topic. But first, let's talk about our government right now. Our government right now is in so much chaos. Particularly right now in the House of Representatives. We have a bunch of idiots in the House of Representatives. On the right, the Republican side of things, you got a bunch of idiots over there. Our government is basically, even though it's not technically shut down, our government is shut down. And the reason why our government is shut down is because we do not have a Speaker of the House. We have the pro tem Speaker of the House, which is another idiot. His name skips my brain right about now. But however, without a speaker, without a duly elected Speaker of the House, our government is stagnant. Our government cannot do anything. No legislation can take place. No laws can be passed. No bills can be passed. Nothing can be done in the House of Representatives if we do not have a duly elected speaker that has been elected by the majority in the Congress, in the House of Representatives. They have to have a simple majority in order to be named speaker, which means at this point in time, I think it's 217 votes. And the reason I say 217 is because Dianne Feinstein passed away about a few weeks ago. It wasn't Feinstein. She did pass away, but it's 217 that's needed. Normally the number is 218, but it's 217 at the time. So, and the path to 217 is not going to be easy because again, we have a lot of chaos going on in the House. It did take place. Mr. Adams put in the comment. He said the leading vote getter for Speaker of the House is Steve Scalise. He said David Duke he's a David Duke without the baggage. And that's the Republicans met behind closed doors to discuss who they would nominate in their party for Speaker. And that's just within the Republican Party. However, this vote has to go to the floor of the House. And it has to be 217 votes to be named as Speaker. Even in the Republican Party, that vote was pretty much divided. There was not, I think the number was like 113 to 99 or something. It was something close. So the Republicans themselves can't even decide upon who they want to be Speaker. And sadly, the options that they put forth was Steve Scalise, which is I hate talking bad about Steve Scalise because of his situation, but he's an asshole. He is one of those 113.99. Thank you, Miss Saber. I was actually correct. I think I was correct. I was right there on it. Thank you, Miss Saber, for that information. 113.99 is what the vote was within the Republican Party as to who they were going to put forth as the nominee for Speaker of the House. However, you would have thought they would have went on ahead and put it on the floor to vote. But they didn't do that because they know they don't have the 217 that's needed. They know that they're not going to get any of the Democratic votes for Steve Scalise or Jim Jordan. The Democratic votes are going to go to Hakeem Jeffries, which is the minority leader there in the House. All of their Democrats are going to send the votes his way. Now, I know I was just talking about the candidates, and I'm going to come back on that in just a second. Now, if Republicans had any sense, if we were dealing with people with common sense, we have, they call them the Gang of Eight. Those are the 8 defectors that defected and got McCarthy out of there. So if they don't want McCarthy, they don't want Scalise, they don't want Jordan, they don't really know what they want, but the Republicans are just creating chaos. If they had any sense to get this government moving, to get it started, to get a leader in there as the Speaker of the House, if they had any sense, we would have a few of the Republican House members we would have a few of the Republican House members to vote on the Democratic side of things, elect Hakeem Jeffries as the Speaker, and let's get this government going. Let's say put it in there. It has to still have to be voted on. Yes, this vote still have to go to the House again, to the floor of the House. So again, that vote that took place was just within the Republican Party. Just Miss Saber, you almost made me cuss right there. You almost made me cuss. She put it in the comment section. Trump said he'll do it. And I hate this. I'm gonna come back to that. But that almost made me cuss because Trump, the Republican Party is the party of Trump. Basically, that's what it is. But Steve Scalise, Jim Jordan were the two people that had basically threw their hat into the ring in regards to being the Republican nominee, if you will, for the House speakership. Steve Scalise is a white supremacist. Jim Jordan is a asshole. He's a complete asshole. If you don't know who Jim Jordan is, Jim Jordan was at the University of Michigan, I think it was, back in the day. Or was it Michigan? Whatever college he was at, teaching at, or whatever. He was a wrestling coach or whatever, and he knew these kids were being sexually abused or what have you, and he's turned his back and he allowed it to happen. And now he's in Congress, and all he does is yell, and he is the chair of the Judiciary Committee. I think he's a Judiciary Committee or Ways. No, he's not Ways and Means. I think he's on the chair of the Judiciary Committee, and all he does is yells at people. They're trying to do this impeachment. No, that's the other guy. That's not it. But he brings witnesses in, and he don't allow them to answer questions. He just yells over him. As soon as somebody calls him out, he just yells off and cuts them off or whatever. He's a complete idiot. So we had two idiots that were up for Ohio State. Thank you, Mr. John Adams. Let's see. Also, Mr. Adams, I'm trying to read the comments. Is that if you think that should happen, you're going to have to be drug tested. He said also he's the chairman of the Judiciary Committee, and it was at Ohio State. Yeah. Like I say, I'm getting old. My memory don't work the way it used to. But those were the two. I mean, and out of those two, I would prefer to have McCarthy back, even though McCarthy was a punk and an idiot and a puppet. I would rather have McCarthy back in there than to put Jim Jordan or Steve Scalise. But unfortunately, I think at the end of the day, Steve Scalise will probably end up as Speaker. Like I said, we had smart Republicans. If they had a mind of their own, and if they stopped doing what Trump wants them to do, and if they stopped being idiots, they would go ahead and go and put Hakeem Jeffries as Speaker. That would be best case scenario. And the reason why I'm talking about this speakership so much is because, one, our government is in chaos because we don't have a speaker. That's the third in command. You have the president, you have the vice president, you have the speaker of the house. That's third in command. Speaker of the house, if there's no speaker, there's no government happening. There's no bills being passed. There's no CRs being passed. There's nothing happening in the House of Representatives. Nothing can happen in the Senate because everything has to go through the House. So our government is stagnant right now. We are at war. And when I say we, people might say, the United States is not at war. Yes, we are at war. Because, member of the coalition, remember, being Israel, we are an ally of Israel. Israel has been attacked by Hamas. Therefore, by them being an ally of ours, we are obligated to provide assistance, military assistance, financial assistance, um, intelligence, what have you. We have to provide that for Israel. Right now, there's a couple of Navy ships that are in the region or headed to that region for support. And I would venture to say that very soon here, we're going to see ground troops starting to move if they haven't already started moving. I haven't heard anything in regards to that, but I predict that you're going to see ground troops on the move here soon. Particularly if Hezbollah or Hamas, if you will, expand their terrorist attack. Keep in mind, this is a terrorist organization. Hamas is not a military organization. It's a terrorist organization. There's a difference. Military organization protects. A terrorist organization, they kill. And with that being said, we can't even provide assistance to our ally because we don't have a speaker, because our government is in so much chaos to where we are failing our allies. And I know people are saying, we need to take care of the United States and people in the United States, and we shouldn't be worried about what's going on overseas and this, that, and the other. You have to understand the importance of having an ally. That's why these countries are in NATO and want to join NATO. The countries that aren't in NATO, they want to join because all these countries in this coalition, they share intelligence. They share information on what the foes are doing, what the enemies are doing. And without that intel, that the United States would not be able to function because, our allies is going to funnel us information that they are getting from countries and organizations that are planning to do harm to the United States and vice versa. So that's why we are at war, because our ally has been attacked. And I know we got some religious people out there that between Israel and Palestine or whatever, they may want to throw an argument in there and, about who's who and who's doing right and who's what and who the United States should be funding and not funding, whatever. But at the end of the day, when it's all said and done right now, the Israel has been attacked by Hamas, Hezbollah. There are innocent civilians. There's the numbers are they changing on a regular basis, so the numbers aren't accurate. You can go to one source and they'll say one number, you can go to another source, it's something different. Last number that I got, there was over 1,200 killed in Israel, 1,300 over 1,300 in Palestine and Gaza. And the last number that I heard in regards to Americans that's caught up in that is 25 that have been confirmed killed. And the carnage, the bloodshed that is going on over there, it is atrocious. And what people need to understand is that these are civilians. These are people that has nothing to do with any type of military exercise, has anything to do with any type of terrorist organizations. These are everyday people that are trying to go about their lives, who their lives have been destroyed. The first day of the attack was on Saturday, and there was 2,000 some odd missiles that was aimed at Israel and the cities in Israel, and thousands of people died. The terrorists went through the streets of the cities in Israel, and they kidnapped people. They shot people at point blank range. They were taking women off and raping them and leaving them bloody and kidnapping the women. They were cutting the heads off of children. These children have nothing to do with nothing. but they're killing children. They decapitating, cutting the heads off of the children. They're killing old people. They're taking old people hostage, and they're killing old people. And they're taking them to Gaza, from my understanding. And they are, every time that Israel retaliates with their own weaponry, they are killing hostages. And right now we cannot do anything because our government is under siege by a bunch of dumbasses who can't get anything right. And I'm talking about the Republican. So that's why it is so important for us to get out and vote, people, because right now our country is in turmoil, and the Republicans are at the helm. They're in the driver's seat of all this confusion that we are having. And a lot of it is because they are following the orange idiot. They are following Donald Trump. I don't know what Trump have on these people, what kind of skeletons are in the closet, but these people are scared to death of crossing Trump, and they are willing to risk the freedoms of the American people to satisfy this idiot, and to make sure that the people, their constituents who are fans of this idiot, stay with them, so they'd have to side with him. Now, if in my mind, I would call that an act of treason. That's just me. I would have called that an act of treason, because everything that Trump is doing is to the detriment of the country. And why are these Trump people so stupid? How did people get this stupid? I remember the Republican Party of old. I didn't agree with all their policies. I didn't agree with all their ways of thinking or what have you, but we had some smart Republicans. I'm a registered Democrat. However, I have lived 40 plus years of my life being unbiased when it comes to political ideas, suggestions, bills, what have you, regardless of what party put forth, what party introduced the bill, what party passed the bill, what majority, whatever. I have always went on the side of common sense, what made sense, and what was going to be to the betterment of me and my situation. And if a Republican passed a bill or introduced a bill that was going to be in my favor, I was for it. But I was a registered Democrat, but I would vote for someone who had common damn sense. But I would not dare. And I know I'm not supposed to tell people who to vote for, what side to vote on, or whatever, but I'm at the point right now, I would not dare to tell anybody to vote for a Republican, period. And that's just not one particular Republican, Trump or whoever, Gates, Rubio, DeSantis, or whatever. It's not just one. I would highly recommend that nobody with an ounce of sense in their brain vote Republican, because the Republicans are destroying our democracy. They are destroying this country. They are the party of Trump. Trump is an idiot. And if you are out there, if you are listening to the sound of my voice, if you are supporting Trump, you are one of the dumbest fucks that ever walked this earth. You are a complete idiot if you are supporting and will vote for someone like Donald Trump. Right now, Israel is being attacked by Hamas. Hezbollah is trying to take control of Israel. The people are suffering over there, and the orange idiot who wants to be president again of the United States, instead of coming out and condemning what these terrorists are doing, he comes out and says he's putting Netanyahu, who is the prime minister in Israel over there, their president, if you will, and he's criticizing Netanyahu, but he's calling the leaders of Hezbollah and the leaders of Hamas smart people. He's praising them. But this is not the first time. China, Xi Jinping in China, he calls him a smart person. He's a good guy. Kim Jong-un in North Korea, he praises Kim Jong-un in North Korea. He praises Putin in Russia. Any country that has a dictator, he is on their side. He calls them smart and strong and this, that, and that. But he talks down on our allies. Let's see, John put a comment. Not understanding the first two words. He said hair salon. Would you vote for Chip Simmons? That's a question that's a question that I can't answer at this point in time. When the election comes up for a sheriff, it's going to depend on who is running. Am I a fan of Chip? Not necessarily. However, man, Chip had many conversations. We've had many conversations, and we've talked about some things, what have you. And I can't say this about Chip, and I hadn't been up on things like I should be, especially in the last few months in regards to the community. And I know I'm jumping subject here real quick, but Mr. Adams asked a question, so. When Chip first became sheriff, me and Chip sat down and we had long conversations. We talked about the issues. We talked about the issues that we were facing in our community or what have you. And we talked about the issue of community policing. We talked about the issue of holding officers accountable for what they do, the deputies accountable, and what have you. And I can say, to my knowledge, for the most part, Chip is honoring his word. Again, I don't know about every situation, what have you, but for the most part, my understanding, Chip is honoring his word, and a lot of stuff that we talked about, he is making it come true. He is putting himself out there in the community. He's making an effort. He can't do everything, but would I vote for Chip again? That's a question you would have to ask me once the political season come around to re-elect the sheriff and who's running, so I can hear both sides. So right now I can't. I know Chip is. I don't know. Let me not lie. I can't lie. I assume his party affiliation is Republican. I would assume. I don't know that for sure. But on the aspect of policing, one of the things that I specifically asked Chip Simmons about, because he came in the era where Ron DeSantis, as the governor of the state of Florida, basically wanted to lock peaceful protesters up simply for protesting. And I posed that question and asked Chip Simmons what is he going to do in regards to the governor's bid to have these protesters locked up. And he sat there and he told me to my face that he will not lock anybody up. He is not going to send anybody to jail for protesting. And this is after the legislation went through the state in regards to the treatment of protesters. He said he is not here to lock up people who are peacefully protesting. Now, if you go out there and protest and act an ass, and you start vandalizing and tearing up the community and things of that nature, then if you go to jail, that's your own fault. They supposed to arrest you at that point. So don't go out there and say you peacefully protesting, but you breaking car windows and setting fires and this, that, and other, and then you go to jail, and then you be like, why they lock me up? They lock you up because you're an idiot. That's why. So, but again, I can't answer that question for sure because I need to know who will be running. But we shall see. But I am trying to monitor as much as I can the activities of the Escambia County Sheriff Department as to what they're doing and not doing. And I can say for the most part, Chip is holding to his word. He's allowing people to. One thing I do like, or not, I'm not going to say like. He tends to give a lot of thought when it comes to if charges going to be brought against someone, particularly people who are defending their life or their property or things of that nature. He tends to take a deep look at it before he just destroys somebody's life. And with an arrest of anybody, a simple arrest can destroy somebody's life. Even a simple arrest in my case, I have to, with my job, I have to have a certain level of security clearance, if you will, and a arrest would devastate me. So if I'm out there and I'm arrested for something and something, particularly something that, for defending myself or whatever the case may be, then that's not going to be a good situation. But anyway, let's move on. But that's we got to get out and vote, people. Vote Democrat. We got to get these Republican idiots out of office, so we can get things normalized around here. Let's go ahead and move to the poll question. Let's go ahead and move to the poll question because we running a little short here. And I asked the poll question, and this was a few days back that I posed this question. And the question was, do you believe that someone who doesn't belong to a church or attend church will go to heaven? And this question was pointed at my Christian brothers and sisters out there. And that question stemmed from listening to Christians, listening to the conversations with Christians, listening to the teachings of Christian pastors and ministers and evangelists, things of that nature, just listening to their comment and how they perceive eternal life. And we know a lot of the teachings. But I grew up in church. Mom had us in church at a young age, and I came up in the church. And after I got, in my later years, my teenage years, what have you, I kind of stopped going to church for a little while, and then I went back to church in my early 20s. But for the most part, I grew up in church, and I grew up believing, because I was always taught that if you don't go to church, if you're not in the church, if you're not a member of the church, if you're not tithing in the church, you're going to hell. That was what I learned from the church in my years of being a avid church goer. And I didn't believe that just based on my own beliefs. I believe that because that's what we were taught. I think it was Creflo Dollar who came out, the famous pastor, if you will. I think it was Creflo Dollar who came out and said, we've been teaching this wrong for years. in regards to our tithing, because pastors tend to preach on tithing, and they will base that tithing on whether you're going to heaven or hell. They would preach on going to church and base everything that is going on in life on the fact that this person is not going to church, that person is not going to church. That's why they're having these problems. That's why this is going on. That's why they're having this hard time, because they're not going to church. So I pose a question: do you believe someone who doesn't belong to or doesn't attend church will go to heaven? And I got a fair amount of responses, and let me get back to it. And I want to read some of the responses, so I can give you guys an overview of what other people think other than myself. And then I read some of these, and then I come back and give you my personal commentary after the fact. Some people answered with a one-word answer. Then, they said yes. I don't think I had anybody to come out and just say no. And with the responses, if you want to know who said what or whatever, is on my page, but I'm not going to call any names out tonight. So I had one person said the answer was yes. They can still go to heaven. He said church isn't required to be saved. Confession and belief in Christ is. I had another person to say, he said, I wonder if there's life outside this planet. Would they need to go to church as well? It's an interesting comment. And then to that comment, there was a reply to that comment. He said, I can say this: I know man didn't create man because he would still be creating man, and he would be able to heal or fix man. I know man didn't create the world because he would create another one because he is messing this one up. There's a God who is a greater than ourselves in so many. And so in my opinion, yes, they would, because they didn't create themselves. Okay. And then I had another answer. It said only God has the answer. And if you're just joining me, what I'm doing, we're posing. I did a poll question on my Facebook page, and I asked if you're not a member of a church or go to church, will you go to heaven? And again, I was pointing this at our Christian faith believers, and I'm reading some of the responses. Again, I'll come back at the end and kind of sum it up, if you will. Another response I got said, going to church has very little to do about going to heaven. In my opinion, that's based on what I've studied. Somebody else said, I'll meet you at the pearly gates. Mustard seed, brother. And so many making reference to if you have the faith of a mustard seed. Another person said, going to church is not a prerequisite to going to heaven, although the Bible does talk about forsaking, not assembling of saints. The prerequisites for going to heaven is salvation, and the Bible is clear on this. If thou confesses with thy mouth and believe in thine heart that Jesus died and God has raised him from the dead, then thou shalt be saved. The blood shed on the cross is what covered us in our testimony. That was another response we got. They said yes. Church is not the only place to worship. That's like saying someone who works every Sunday will go to hell. Okay, I got you on that one. Another person said going to church has nothing to do with whether you go to heaven. Just believe that Jesus died for our sins and repent and forgive. Then we got another answer that just says yes. Then Another just said yes. And I got a long one here. Let me just try to read the gist of it. It says, easy question, going or not going to church doesn't determine your salvation. However, going to church has many benefits crucial to the growth and maturity of the saints. Fellowship, identity. And the Bible says the spirits dwell in the house of the Lord perpetually, and where the spirit is, there is liberty. It goes on to quote some scriptures also in that response, but I'm not going to read every scripture that he put. Another person said yes, because the building is not a church, it is a ministry, and people who are in the church, that's why he said he's coming back for the church without a spot or a wrinkle. He's talking about a person, not a building. Another response I got, they said, I just don't understand how we ignore the fact on the history and the reality of religion. I guess I was born in Iraq. I'd be looking for 30 virgins right now. People looking for gold streets that are hot. We are energy. We are spiritual by nature. The image is just transformed. We have to enjoy this form because we'll never have it again. So, I got a bunch of interesting responses in regards to that particular question. And I'm going to say this, and I know I sound like I'm playing, which I am playing devil's advocate, if you will. And I pose this because I try to get everybody to look beyond themselves. I try to get everybody to think in the mindset of others and not just their own mindset and their own beliefs, and because that's where we get ourselves in trouble. That's where we start hating people. That's when we start being violent toward each other, because you don't believe as I believe. That's when we start criticizing each other. That's when we start putting down people, and it causes rifts in families and marriages and whatnot, because you don't believe as I believe. And it's not a secret where I have said that Christians are the most hypocritical people that you will ever meet in your life, and they are, in my opinion. Because a lot of Christians believe that there is no other belief out there. A lot of Christians believe that if you believe in any other type of religion, that you are wrong. You are wrong in your belief. Even if I come to somebody, and again, I'm playing devil's advocate here. If I come to somebody and say that, just throwing out a hypothetical situation, and I come in and say, there's no Jesus. I don't believe in Jesus. There's no Jesus, and Jesus never did this, and Jesus never did that. Why this? If there's Jesus, why would this be happening? Whatever. And that Christian would come back and tell me that if you do not confess that Jesus is Lord and Savior, that you're going to hell. Christians will tell you that the Bible is the blueprint of living life. If you don't follow this Bible, you are damned to hell. You're going to hell. Why do Christians always want to put somebody in hell? Maybe that's a next poll question that I put up. Why do Christians always want to put somebody in hell? Because Christians will forever say, Christians will forever tell you that if you don't do this, you're going to hell. If you don't do that, you're going to hell. If you do this, you're going to hell. If you do that, you're going to hell. So real quick, if somebody's out there listening can answer that question, why do Christians always want to put somebody in hell? Somebody answer that question for me. Somebody put a comment in there. Tell me why is that. And I'm not knocking anybody's faith. I'm not knocking the Christian faith. But I am a realist. I don't see things, through a tunnel. I don't look at things with blinders on. I see the whole picture. And Christians would damn you to hell, and the same ones that's putting a bad tongue on you are the same ones that's doing what they are putting you to hell. They're doing the same thing that they putting you in hell for. And that's where the hypocritical part of Christianity come in. Because we just had a Powerball, $1.7 billion or something like that, some ridiculous number. But Christians will tell you you're not supposed to gamble. But I can tell you that when you go to church Sunday. Go to church Sunday, and whoever you sit next to, whoever you sit next to in church Sunday, ask them did they buy a Powerball ticket. Ask them if they was in Atmore the night before they came to church Sunday morning. Like the old folks used to say, they used to go over there on the boat. They used to call Mississippi the boat over there. I never understood. I didn't understand that until my later years. I was like, why they call the casino the boat over there in Mississippi? I couldn't understand that for the longest because I wasn't going to the casinos. I didn't go to the casinos until later on in my life. They call it the boat. But it was always the church members that was going over there to the boat. But that they're not supposed to, according to the teachings, you're not supposed to gamble. So when you go to church Sunday, just look to your left and look to your right and say, did you buy a Powerball ticket? So and my point is, I'm just really trying to understand the whole religious thing, or I'm trying to understand more about Christianity. And I don't have a lot of positive examples of true Christianity, because and I'm not putting anybody down when I say this, because we're all human. Most of the people that I come across that are spewing the Bible and throwing Bible verses at everybody and putting holy water on people and anointing people with oil on the forehead and all that, those people are the ones that are the most hypocritical and the most, and sometimes mean people, the meanest people that you'll come across in your life. That's the reason why you can't. It's hard to get young people to come into church, especially if they didn't grow up in the church. If they grew up in the church, they'll probably stay in the church, and they'll become the hypocritical adults that they learn from. So I'm just trying to get an understanding, and maybe I have a show where I get some Christians on, not necessarily pastors, but people of the Christian faith, to have an open dialogue and explain why Christians are so quick to damn you to hell. So, on that note, this show will be posted on my Facebook page. Time for me to get up out of here, and then this Thursday we're coming toward the weekend. I got a long weekend coming up, thank God. Monday I should be on Monday night. Make sure you join me Monday night. Over the weekend, you guys be safe, be careful, be responsible, don't do anything stupid. Once again, it is cheaper for people who go out and partake in the spirits, if you will, it is cheaper to call a Uber or call you a tow truck to get home than it is to deal with a DUI. Because you don't, you call that Uber or you call that tow truck, the tow truck costs you about $40 for them to load your truck up, and you can sit in the cab with the driver and they'll bring you all the way to the house. Or you can call that Uber and spend that $20 to get from the club to the house. But that DUI is going to cost you a few $1,000s, and it cost you a little bit of time of your freedom. And that's what we don't want to have. Be responsible out there, people. Be responsible. But once again, I want to thank you for joining me right here on the Truth with G, WPMM Internet Radio. It's been fun. In 3 years, I've been coming to you. I've enjoyed every minute of it. And make sure that you keep tuning in 6 o'clock p.m. every Monday, Thursday. I will be right here. But until then, you guys be safe. Y'all be blessed. And I am out of here.